Hi and welcome to another Wednesday. Today I am going to talk about how to deal with the consequences of having boundaries in your life. And I wasn't going to do another boundary video because I think we have been exploring that quite a lot, but this is something that comes back every now and then, and I haven't really addressed it because it's really hard to address it as a general topic. But I often I hear about people that they don't really want to set boundaries because they are scared of what is going to happen when the boundary is violated. And if you have watched the previous videos, you will know that a boundary is when someone is invading your space and you don't want them to, they are violating your boundary. And what happens then is that you will take some sort of action. And the most important thing here is that you will follow through with this action. And it has to come from a place of love, and it's not anything that you do to manipulate someone else to change their behavior. It's something that you do to protect yourself. And that is always where you need to come from when you have a boundary. It's about you only. It has absolutely nothing to do with the other person. So obviously it's a bit hard to tell what to answer this question without knowing what is the action that you're going to take when the boundary is violated. So I'm going to bring up this same example. This is one of my boundaries that I have in my life, is that I don't let people shout at me. If you shout at me, I will leave the room. And if you follow me and you keep shouting at me, I will maybe leave the room again, or I will leave the house if I need to. I will not stand there or sit there and be shouted at. I will just leave. I will not stay and have a discussion with you while you're shouting. What I'll probably do is I'll say, hey, come back when you can talk to me without shouting, and we can have the conversation then. But I'm not going to do that while you're shouting at me. And that's all good. So sometimes I think the problem for many people might be that they feel like if this is their partner shouting at them, they feel like they have an obligation to listen to them even though they're shouting. Or maybe they feel so compelled to argue with them that they're not prepared to set a boundary there because they feel like the other part maybe is winning, or whatever can come up for you. So it will be some sort of uncomfortable feeling, whatever that feeling is for you. So maybe you feel like you're disrespectful when you walk away, in which case I would probably argue who's disrespecting who here. Or maybe you're scared of your partner, and in that case I would ask you, what is the worst case scenario? What do you think could happen? Obviously, if there is physical violence involved in, when this person is shouting at you, my best advice is that you do leave that relationship. It's not worth your physical health or anything to be in a relationship. This person is clearly not respecting you, and in this case I do not care if you are married and you dedicated your life to this person. We're now talking about your life and for your well-being. So please, if there's any physical violence or something like that, I think the boundary should be that you are leaving the relationship permanently if that happens, and that is a very important boundary, and I think most of us have that, but many people don't feel as if they are strong enough because they are emotionally attached to this person, or maybe it has to do with their belief in God or something, and they feel like they can't walk away from the relationship. So seek help is all I can tell you. For others, it might just be that they feel like their partner's well-being is their responsibility. So if they're walking away from them when they want to talk or shout, they feel like they're not meeting their responsibility. So I totally disagree with this, because we're all responsible for our own well-being, and we need to take that responsibility for our own well-being. I do not want you to let your partner shout at you if you have a boundary around this, and then you don't feel good about it and you blame your partner. Then you're not taking responsibility for your well-being, and this is something that you need to do, and he will have to take responsibility for his well-being. So no matter what emotion is coming up for you, you need to take a look at what it is that is going on in your head. So without knowing exactly what your problem is, I would just recommend that you do get a pen and a paper and you just write down every thought you have about this scenario that's been in your head. However big or small it might feel like it is, just get it down on paper, and then you have a look at that paper, you read it back, and you see which of these thoughts are true or true to you. And really have a look at them, as many of these thoughts are going to be totally irrational. And you're going to see that when you see them on paper, so you can kind of put them in the bin. You can disregard them and just get them out of the system. So you will be left with a few thoughts, hopefully not too many, that you think are true facts. Now, ask yourself, if I came into the room and you said, okay, this is my thought and this is a fact, would I or anyone else in the world be able to disagree with that? If we could disagree with that, it's probably not a fact. It's probably just a thought that you're having. So I would want you to make it into a fact. What has happened? So in this case, I have walked out of the room. That is a fact that everyone in the world can agree on. So you just need to ask yourself, if everyone else in the world would agree on this as a fact, then it's probably a fact. If many people, or just one person, apart from your partner, maybe, disagrees with it, it's probably not a fact. So let's say I feel disrespectful when I'm walking out of the room, when my partner is shouting at me. My thought might be that it is my partner, so I should stay and listen. Whenever you have the thought should, you know it's just a thought, it's actually not a fact. So this is just my thoughts, and it's not true in the world because not everyone would agree with me. The fact is that I'm walking out of the room when he shouts at me. And that is something that we can all agree on. So I could choose to think something different about this. I could choose to think that I'm creating some space so that we can have an adult and mature conversation later without letting it go too far, whatever too far is. And this will make me feel in control, because I can choose to walk out of that room and I can just say, hey, let's talk about this later when you have calmed down. And that way I'm taking control of the situation. I know exactly what I'm doing, and without us actually having an argument, because I'm not getting involved in that, we can have a mature and hopefully giving conversation about this matter later on. And that is such a much better place to be in than having all of these feelings of not being good enough or not doing the right thing or whatever it could be. That's not a place where you would be, because you will never feel empowered from that place at all. You need to get yourself to a place where you can see it as a way of enhancing your situation, if you like. Because if you had not walked out, what would have happened? In my case, I would probably eventually have reacted, and I would be shouting back and telling him to stop shouting at me, because I'm very reactive to being shouted at. I do not like it, and that's why I leave the room. And I'm not going to be upset about it, I just leave. It's like, okay, you want to shout? I leave. Let's talk later. It's fine. But I'm not going to get involved in that. So just explore what you are thinking and how that makes you feel. And then make sure that you have the facts about what's going on without any value judgment. And then lastly, just see if you can think about this in a different way, because that will feel so much better to you. But it needs to be something that you can truly believe in, that is believable to you. So I hope that this has been helpful, and you should be able to apply this to pretty much any boundary violation or your thoughts about anything. So just get it down on paper and see what comes out, if this has happened to you recently or if you remember something clearly. So have a good week, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye!